Well, the city of Nashville is mourning today, and tonight a vigil will be held for the six victims from Monday's shooting at the Covenant Christian School. This as we learn more about those lives that were cut short. And here they are, three 9-year-old students. Their names Evelyn Deckhouse, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney. They also include 61-year-old Mike Hill, who was a custodian at the school, Cynthia Peak, a substitute teacher, and the principal, Catherine Kuntz, who police believe ran towards the shooter to help protect her students before she was shot and killed. Here was last night's message from Tennessee Governor Bill Lee and his wife. They were longtime friends of Cynthia Peak and Catherine Kuntz.
This is not a time for hate or rage. That will not resolve or heal. Everyone is hurting, everyone. Remembering that as we grieve and walk together will be the way we honor those who were lost. We can all agree on one thing.
Now, police are still searching for a motive in this deadly shooting. Investigators say that the shooter was a former student at the Covenant School, carefully planned her attack but fired indiscriminately. Now, Republican Senator Josh Hawley, however, says it should be investigated as a hate crime. In fact, Hawley and others say she was in fact targeting Christians. Hawley sending this letter to the FBI Director Christopher Wray and DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, urging them to open a federal hate crime probe, saying, quote, hate that leads to violence must be condemned and hate crimes must be prosecuted. The shooter, 28-year-old Audrey Hale, was a biological female who identified as a transgender male. And now there's a group called the Trans Radical Activist Network organizing a call for a Trans Day of Vengeance this weekend. This right here you're looking at is an ad posted on their website. Though you just heard the governor there, Lee, saying this is not a time for anger. Let's bring in our national correspondent Logan Raddick now, who's live in Washington with a bit more on what they are talking about with this Day of Vengeance. Logan, what are you hearing?
Well, Bianca, this Trans Day of Vengeance was planned by the Antifa-linked group here in D.C. called Our Rights D.C. Now, it should be noted that the event was planned before the Nashville shooting, but it has not been canceled. Now, the group has also been posting flyers. We'll put them up on your screen right now. They've been sharing them. They've been organizing with the Trans Radical Action Network, but Twitter has removed more than 5,000 tweets sharing the graphic for the Trans Day of Vengeance, including those of people who do not support that Day of Vengeance, including Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, a spokeswoman for Twitter says, quote, we do not support tweets that incite violence of who post them. Vengeance does not imply peaceful protest. Congresswoman Greene tweeted, quote, my official congressional account was banned for 7 days for exposing Antifa's plan for violence on the Trans Day of Vengeance. Now, we've already seen threats against members of the Supreme Court. Last year, Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh was the target of an assassination attempt near his Maryland home by somebody who happened to be identifying themselves as a trans gamer girl. Now, again, this event is happening this weekend. We've reached out to Capitol Police brass about what they're doing in terms of preparations for this event, in terms of staffing and other measures. But so far, the leadership of the Capitol Police has not given us an answer as to what will be happening here this weekend. Back to you.
Logan Raddick. Thank you, Logan.
Well, the Nashville Police Department continues to receive praise for their quick response to the active shooting situation. The rampage lasted 14 minutes, but it obviously could have been much worse. Officers arrived on the scene 11 minutes after the initial 911 call, again running towards the gunfire. The body cam footage released yesterday comes to us from the officers Rex Engelbrett and Michael Colazzo, and it only took them 3 minutes after rushing into the school, going up to the second floor to engage and take down the shooter. Joining us right now for more on this is former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik. Bernie, always great to see you.
Thanks, John.
You obviously have a lot of experience in situations, I wouldn't say exactly like this, but you understand how vital time can be in these moments. Also, your son is a SWAT officer for the city of Newark, New Jersey. Give us your assessment, Bernie, on what we're watching in that video and the actions of these officers.
I think first, John, there's a staff member outside who was extremely calm, cool, and collected on getting information to the initial officer where the shots were coming from and how to get into the school. That officer and the others you see, they're clearing those floors, right? They're clearing those rooms. In CQ, in close quarters battle, until you know the direction of the gunfire or where the target is, you've got to clear every room as you go along. That's what you see being done until they spot the target and they hear the shots, or first they hear the shots, then they see the target, take the target out. I got to tell you, John, looking at this video, this is a textbook response from a municipal police department. This isn't a SWAT team. These are radio car cops pulled up, took out their weapons, went into the school, and if you listen to them, you'll hear commands. I need three. Basically, I need three officers to stack on the door before we enter the school. Every one of those rooms that they cleared, there was an officer holding the door, watching the hallway as they entered. This was extremely well done, number one. Number two, this is a demonstration for every department in this country. Mm-hmm. You should be training every police officer that goes through your academy, whether it's initial training or in-service training. This is the type of response they should have in situations like this.
You think about this in contrast with what we saw in Uvalde, Texas, and what happened in Parkland, Florida, where the officers and sheriff's deputies in case of Parkland refused to go inside when the gunfire was taking place. I also want to play a soundbite here from the Nashville Metro Police Chief, John Drake. Here he is talking about his officers' quick response.
I hope that we would never have this situation, that if we ever did, we would not wait. We would immediately go in and we would immediately engage the person perpetrating this horrible crime.
And, you know, you want to see the police chief out there commending his officers, Bernie. And
John, I have to tell you, this was, like I said, it was extremely well done. It was organized. There was phenomenal communications between the officers. And when they spotted the target, right before they got to the target, everything went quiet. They were creeping on the target. You know, historically, police departments, you hear a lot of yelling and screaming and move and this and that. You didn't hear none of that. He creeped around the corner, spotted the target, took the target out, and then the guys moved in from there. Extremely well done.
You talked about, Bernie, the calm and cool person outside the school, a civilian here. Obviously, the police heroes commended for their training, but we're talking about people that were untrained who also play a role in this. And there is reports, Sally, the headmaster of the school, Catherine Kuntz, who is among the victims. She was on a Zoom call. She heard the shots, immediately jumped up. She ran towards the shooter. And we're learning from the police chief, Drake, that he's sure that she was involved in a confrontation because of the way they found her lying in the hallway. You know, we're hearing these stories about all of the victims. A woman who knew this woman said she was a mighty oak tree of a woman who advocated for students with disabilities. Can you speak to the fact that we have this headmaster who jumped into action knowing that she could her life could be taken to save students?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. I would bet anything that every one of the staff members in that school has gone through this type of training in the past. Not only did that staff member outside direct the cops, you had the headmaster running toward the gunfire. You had another teacher or a staff member that was in constant communications with 911, monitoring an internal video as to what was going on within the school. They had practiced this before. This is what every school in this country should be doing. You know, we sent, John, billions and billions of dollars to the Ukraine. You could train and equip every school in the country to operate in this manner. If we'd stop giving money away to foreign countries like the Ukraine, stick that money where it belongs, stick that money in our children's safety and security in this country instead.
Bernie Kerik, always great to see you. Take care.
Thanks, John.